I guess if you're going through it, just know that you're not alone going through it. So many people struggle with infertility, and while you're in the process of figuring everything out, getting diagnosed, figuring out how you're going to, you know, go through treatments, all that stuff, it can be scary and it can feel like you're the only one going through it, but you're really not. There's so many women who experience it, and I would recommend reaching out to a support group just like the one that you've started. I think that would be an amazing place to start. Welcome back to Adventures from the Homefront. I'm Olivia. This is Jennifer and Jessica. And today we're going to get into part 2 of navigating infertility in the military.
Yep, and it's a soft catheter, and then you watch it on ultrasound, and it's this little flash, and there she was, snug at home, and she decided to stay.
9 months later.
9 months later, she came out perfectly healthy. I still am in shock every day. I'm like, holy smokes, like that really worked.
That's amazing.
Now we have no embryos left over, so you know, now we're kind of back to the decision of, okay, well, we don't feel like our family is complete. Mm-hmm. We always said we wanted more than one child, but now we're back to square one. Like, okay, so we come up with it, you know, do we want to come up with the $10,000 again? Do we want to put ourselves through that emotional roller coaster?
Does Tricare cover Invisel? That's a new technology, right?
Correct.
Okay, and Tricare does not cover it.
So Tricare does not, I shouldn't say Tricare doesn't ever cover IVF. They do cover IVF when it's directly, the infertility is directly related to service. Okay. So the last DOD brief that I read, they had covered 20 procedures. Okay. Of IVF. And so my husband had a urologic cancer, and they still would not cover IVF for us. So it is extremely difficult to get Tricare to cover it.
That's crazy. Okay, so for some of those of you who don't know, who are watching what Invisel is, it's a brand new technology where it's an intravaginal device, right? So instead of, they harvest your eggs and the sperm, instead of putting them together in a petri dish and then
hoping something happens,
fertilizing them in a lab, they actually can put it in this device, then they insert it into you, and it can fertilize in your own body. So the heat from your body fertilizes it. And it's supposed to help keep the cost down significantly because you're not using the lab.
Correct. You're not using that embryologist.
Right.
They also generally do micro stimming, which means less hormones, which is less cost for medication. The issue is that it is not recommended for anybody who has male factor or unexplained infertility.
There you go. That's important information because I did not know that.
Yes. So it was not an option for us. We actually did one of the highest levels of assistive reproductive technology, and this is recommended if you have unexplained. So, you know, in some instances, couples are perfectly healthy, everything, you know, all their testing comes back normal, and they're still not getting pregnant, and nobody knows why.
I have family members that had to go through, I'm not sure if it was IUI or IVF. First kid, second kid, they just got
seems to happen.
Miracle baby coming up. Like they're like, we have no idea. So it happens. It's just
so for anybody that has unexplained or that male factor, they do.
Hold on, guys. 1 second. We have a jailbreak
miracle baby on set. Hi. Speaking of the devil here.
Normally.
Normally.
Go.
This is his normal.
So when you finally find a type of assisted reproductive technology that works for treatment for infertility, this is your life, right?
Yep. That is our little rainbow child right there. Yes. And that is his personality. He is just a rainbow most of the time.
Hey, we all have our days.
90% of the time.
Probably 98 that I've known him. Yeah. I've very rarely seen that kid upset. He's so sweet.
So sweet.
He's such a good kid.
So you guys are deciding what you want to do next.
Right. Yes.
So keep us updated.
Yeah, I will. At this point, we've decided to put it off for a little bit, but our daughter's only a year old, so we have hopefully a little bit of time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So talking about this is obviously a sensitive subject, right? What are things that if you are aware somebody's going through it, or even if you're not, like how is it appropriate to go about talking about this subject of infertility and getting pregnant, and what are some things that are just like, maybe you shouldn't say that to someone? Like,
I would say just try and put yourself in their shoes. How would you want somebody to talk to you about it? That's pretty much common sense, you know?
yeah.
Some people think that it's okay to say the most blunt, direct questions.
Yeah.
And while that's all well and good and probably coming from a great place, maybe, you know, the person on the other side of that is really emotional and has had a really crap day, and, you know, they're just not in the mood for that, and try and pick up on those subtle cues. I mean, you can tell if you start bringing something up, you can kind of tell right away how the other person is reacting. Maybe if you start to see a little bit of like hesitation in the other person, just take a step back and say, you know what? Like, I can sense this is a sensitive topic. I love you and I only want to help you out, but we don't need to talk about this right now. And just kind of let the other person kind of gauge that conversation.
Because the only thing I have to compare it to is because I am a 20-some-year-old married woman, and anytime I'm sick, are you pregnant?
Yes.
No, I have the flu. So I can't imagine going through something like that and having all those extra emotions that Jen, you said that you shared about it, but not sharing about it, and just being like, this is not something that I want to talk about right now. Like, I can't imagine going through that.
And I think for me, I think it's important that people understand infertility is a medical issue. It requires medical intervention, be it a low end of the spectrum medication all the way up to you're working with literally a team of doctors to help you get pregnant. It is a medical issue. And so unsolicited advice that's not backed by science is not helpful. It's just hurtful. Oh, stop stressing. Oh, if you just stop trying, then it will happen. Oh, somebody ate yogurt for 10 days, 2 months straight and got pregnant. Like, that worked for, this worked for so-and-so. Instead, come at it as how can I support you in what you're going through? Like, what do you need from me? Do you need me to pray for you? Do you need me to think about you? Do you need me to check in and say, I'm thinking of you, or how can I support you? I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Hey, like, I know you're going for your transfer. Can I make you guys dinner and bring it over so you guys don't have to worry about that?
Can I drive you? Can I take you?
Like, can I watch your dog?
Yeah.
Let me know if it's an emergency situation. You need me. Call me.
Yeah.
That's great. Just be supportive.
I think that's awesome. For sure.
So what are some resources available to people that think that they could possibly have to struggle with infertility or are struggling with infertility?
Pepper, sit. You're trotting, and it's going to be picked up on the microphone. Sit. Okay, she's not listening.
Of course not. Speaking of dogs, right? Can I take care of your dog while you're going through a transfer?
Yeah, the first baby.
Yes, of course. We have one as well. Our dogs, at the time we had 2, they traveled to Walter Reed with us, and they stayed with us in the Navy Lodge.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was a journey. Yeah, that's for sure. So resources, the 2 that have been most helpful for me, if you think you might be dealing with infertility, your first step is definitely going to be to talk to your primary care manager and ask for a referral. And start being seen by that specialist who's really going to be able to get down to the bottom of what might be going on with you.
Yeah. And you don't need to necessarily wait to have that conversation until you've been trying for a year. They could say, you know what, come back in 12 months. but it doesn't hurt to go in after 6 months, you know. I didn't wait a year before my doctor chose to see me. You guys sounds like you kind of got
Yes.
around it in an interesting way, but you just never know. Every doctor is different, and so yeah, don't feel like you have to wait that full 12 months if you feel like there's something wrong
before starting the conversation.
Yeah, there's
Absolutely.
no harm in just starting that conversation.
A couple more resources that, you know, once you have been diagnosed with infertility, one of my favorites is the American Society of Reproductive Medicine. They are really on the cutting edge. They work with the National Institute of Health, and they, you know, they're cutting edge. If there's any new research, if there's any new technology, they're the first to know about it. They're testing it. So they're a good resource to go to if you're wanting to know your odds, if you're wanting to know what the newest protocols are. Another one is Resolve. They are a national advocacy network.
Okay.
So they do a lot on Capitol Hill. They do a lot of talking to senators and congressmen and discussing why why infertility treatment, because as we said, it's a medical condition, needs to be covered, why it shouldn't be an optional thing to cover. And so they're big. They do local meetup groups as well.
That's great.
And then lastly, when I started going through this, I realized that I just didn't have a lot of network. You know, I didn't know a lot of people that were going through infertility, and I was going to be moving to a totally new area where I didn't know anybody, didn't know anything. And so I started a Facebook support group because I really just was looking for like-minded people who were positive and, you know, they understood how science worked, and I just wanted to be able to have a safe space where I could be like, man, I just got this test result and it like stinks, and my husband's gone away for work, so we missed another month of IUI, which happens because everything's so timed and so calculated. And so I started a group, and I run it with a couple of great women. We do. Sometimes people coordinate meetups for their local areas. It's only for military connected people, and it just really brings that sense of, I'm amazed at what people can find out. Like, somebody comes to me and I'm like, I know I have somebody who is being seen at that clinic. Hold on.
Yeah.
And to connect them with somebody when they're getting ready for a PCS, I go, here's what you need to tell your PCM, here's who you're going to be seeing. So that kind of, and that is called Military Connected Infertility Support.
Yeah, and we'll leave that down in the description below, as well as all of those other resources that Jennifer mentioned.
Yes.
So,
Awesome.
perfect.
So, one piece of advice that you could give somebody struggling.
Hold on one second. Pepper, I'm going to kill you. Can you just sit? What in the world, dog? Sit. Sit. Okay. Sit your butt down. Sit. Sit.
Do you
Stay
lay down?
All right, let's just get through this. We're almost done. Lord help me.
All right, do you want to tell your piece of advice?
Yeah, I think I just kind of, well, no, I didn't touch on the advice that I would give somebody going through it, I guess. I guess if you're going through it, just know that you're not alone going through it. So many people struggle with infertility, and while you're in the process of figuring everything out, getting diagnosed, figuring out how you're going to, go through treatments, all that stuff, it can be scary and it can feel like you're the only one going through it, but you're really not. There's so many women who experience it, and I would recommend reaching out to a support group just like the one that you've started. I think that would be an amazing place to start, and surround yourself with women who have gone through this or are going through it, because they're going to be your biggest support system for sure.
And I think that would probably almost be my exact advice.
Yeah.
Just you're going to need a family and a tribe to lean on, because it's emotional, it's expensive, and your partner is going to be amazing. But for me, he did not understand what it was like to go through it as a woman. And I really needed other women who were there, who were in the thick of it with me, or who had been through it, who were like, I know it looks like there is no light, but there is a light. And just who knew how to support me in the moment. And you're going to need that, but you're also going to get through it. And that's what's important to remember, is that this is a season, and to just keep going.
Keep on keeping on. Yep, for sure. I'm going to kill my dog. Do you guys hear her? Tap, 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 tap. Just pacing back and forth.
Oh, she's grumbling now. She's talking back to you.
Apologies. Not like it's a sensitive subject or anything, Pepper.
Yes.
Come on.
Hey, well, my dogs were a huge support to me as I went through it. They laid in bed and cried with me.
Yeah.
They danced around when we got good news, and
Hey,
they're part of the family. I haven't forgotten about them, even though I have a crazy toddler now.
I think she just maybe needs to go out in just a second, okay? Oh my Lord. Well, cool. I'm so glad you came over. Thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
It was good talking to you.
Yeah, it's been
Good
great.
hearing your story.
Yeah. And on the tail end of this crazy adventure that we're chatting about, we have an amazing announcement.
Yeah.
If you like Jen's mug, we are actually starting to sublimate mugs. We're hopefully going to get some water bottles,
wine tumblers,
all those crazy things.
Speaking of furry friends, like custom dog bowls, all that fun stuff.
So we're really excited. So we're going to leave our Etsy shop linked below. A lot of our mugs right now that are up are military themed. However, every single one of them can be customized to whatever you want on it. Jen was like, I want Semper Gumby on mine. And I was like,
So,
we got it.
We will be sure, Jen designed this mug, and we'll be sure to add this mug to our Etsy store. And if you put the code JEN in the, what is it called?
In the discount box.
In the discount box, yeah. Put the
Whatever
code JEN, and you can get this. We'll give you guys 10% off.
Nice.
It's super cute for all of our Marine Corps spouses out there.
Alrighty, thank you guys for watching today. We'll be back next week with another video. Be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit the bell so you can get notified for all our upcoming videos, and we will see you later. Bye!